we have to do Cryptic Corner. And we're going to pretend all the intro stuff goes. Cryptic Corner, blah, and you got the purple background with the smoke and all the figures appearing. Um, that's what I can't wait to get back to. I love my channel transitions and art I do. So we'll get back to Cryptic Corner in its full glory soon. But in the meantime, we're gonna make this work. We're going to talk about a topic, another one that's been kind of on my back burner for a bit. Because I was waiting for something to happen in the area, but nothing. It's kind of, when it comes to this stuff, you can't predict what's going to happen when. What we are talking about today is something that I actually poked Dr. Ben about a little bit because I wanted to get some insight about it. We're going to be talking about alien implants. Now, what is an alien implant? Let's go out and just to get a rudimentary understanding, we're going to go out to Wikipedia and we're going to just read their brief little synopsis at the beginning of the top section. It says, in ufology, alien implant is a term used to describe physical objects allegedly placed in someone's body after they've been abducted by aliens. Claimed capabilities of the implants range from telepresence to mind control to biotelemetry, or biotelemetry. Telemetry seems like it'd be biotelemetry, but to me, but anyway, the latter akin to human tagging wild animals for study. As with UFO subjects in general, the idea of alien implants has seen very little attention in mainstream science. And obviously there's a good reason for that because, well, we'll get into it. No spoilers yet. Okay, so first things first, when you talk about alien implants in general, specifically in the last 10 years or so, one name comes up again and again. His name is Dr. Roger Leir. Now, Dr. Roger Leir is the alien implant surgeon, is his nickname. And he's wrote a book called The Alien and the Scalpel. He's been on Coast to Coast AM. If you're familiar with, if you're like me and you follow all this nerdy stuff, you're familiar with Coast to Coast AM and how that goes down. He also had a part in the documentary that recently, when I say recently, 2017, so within the last 10 years, that recently was made about, it was the last big media boost about alien implants called Patient 17. We're going to get all into that too as well as we move along here. But first, let's learn a little bit about our friend, Mr. Roger Leir. We check my chat, make sure everybody's on board and keeping up with me so far. Okay, yeah, and Ian Davenport showed up. Good to see you. Good to see you. And everybody's having fun. Junk shop's being filthy, I hear. I wonder what that's all about. But I have to focus on my show, so you guys quit being naughty in the chat because keep being naughty in the chat. All right, so and I'll read a little blurb about him too. Roger Craven Leir was an American podiatric, or how do you say it? Podiatric, I guess. He's a podiatric surgeon, and ufologist, best known as an investigator of alleged alien implants. Leir wrote books such as The Alien and the Scalpel, and appeared in various radio and television shows. Gives us the Coast to Coast AM drop there, claiming he discovered proof of non-terrestrial experimentation on man. So, Leir, he was a real doctor. He that's not something that he's claiming. He's not like some of the other fake doctors that we talk about on the show. Talking to you, Dr. Dino. But this guy's a real doctor, real podiatrist, surgeon. So he does know what he's doing. So in 1995, this guy, he's as well as being a doctor, he's like aliens and stuff. So I mean, to hear him talk about his backstory, it's always been an interest to him. So he went to MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network meeting or conference that they had in 1995. And just to give you a timetable, I was 12 in 1995. So I think Amanda was 14. Junk Shop was 12 too. So yeah, back when we were that age. He examined some X-rays offered to him from an abductee of an implant that she claimed to have had. He went on to extract those implants. I say implants because that's what they called them. That's what the woman called them. That's what Lear called them. But we're gonna explore that. Where was I? Okay, yeah. He ended up extracting two small metallic foreign objects from her. And from another individual. They had the objects analyzed by the New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology. And they did determine that the compounds were compounds commonly found on Earth. Nothing fantastic about them. People get foreign bodies lodged under their skin all the time. Your body absorbs it and kind of sometimes wraps it in like a cyst. But we'll get back to that too. So they found these objects inside of this woman's body, mostly composed of iron and aluminum. In describing some of these elements, though, the lab made a innocent but very impactful claim when they, or not claim, I shouldn't say claim because it wasn't a claim. When they made reference to the composition of a meteor. So in the papers, or the papers that were released about the analysis of this foreign body, they mentioned something about the composition of a meteor. And our friend Dr. Lear kind of ran with that and said, oh, that means that the New Mexico Institute of Mining and Technology says that this is an alien implant or from extraterrestrial origins. That was not the case at all. They were just mentioning the composition of meteoric iron versus the composition of our Earth iron, and how we are examining these little tiny molecules and trying to make sense of their origins. And yeah, we do have to take meteoric iron into consideration when we're looking at anything that contains iron and it's foreign. That's not out of the question to say, hey, so this doesn't, these features or these compositions match meteoric iron or these ones don't. It's going to come up. But this didn't detour Lear from running with that and just going with it. He thought that they were proof that we have physical evidence of alien implants now. Let's move forward with that as the current understanding. But at this point, he kind of, from 1995 on, he just kind of got bigger and bigger in the UFO community. Now, it was not without scrutiny. There's been he's had some real critics. And just to be clear, our friend Dr. Lear died in 2014, so he will not be able to put out any more content on his alien implant or alien implant removal surgeries. But we can look back at the body of work he left behind, and that's what we're going to do today. So he's removed things that he claims emit radio waves, have magnetic properties, or have crystals inside of them. All these wild claims about what these objects are that he's removing from these people's bodies, usually in the extremities, like the feet or the hands, arms, knees, shins, things like that. Stuff that you might also notice is also where foreign bodies get lodged during day-to-day life, when you're handling things, and when you have a fall, when you run something into your hand, things like that. You get foreign objects under your skin that are detectable by medical equipment, including X-rays and scans and things. So, but any other examination of these foreign objects that have taken place, or just because no one's really been able to get them under the microscope. Lear's associate Daryl Sims, who's kind of helps. He's like they're like a partnership in working with this with this claim. They've refused examination of the other objects, but for the most part, what we see when we look at them are things like little bits of metal, little bits of glass are the most common. So metal and glass. Again, what are the most common things that you get under your skin besides maybe wood, metal, and glass? But one woman had a crystal in her foot, and I'm going to say that was a piece of glass. Anyway, so there was his book, The Alien and the Scalpel. The second book was a case book, Alien Implant, that was published in 2000. Let me see. I want to make sure to give him a fair shake. So if anybody wants to look at his actual claims, they can go and read these books. Alien and the Scalpel, 1999. Case book, Alien Implants, 2000. We had The Smoking Gun, which was an article published in 2014 in UNX News Magazine. So if you want to read what Dr. Lear has to say out there about the subject of alien implants, you can definitely go out and have a look at that. Okay, so moving on, we are actually going to, I had the IMDb page pulled up for the patient 17. I want to watch that real quick. I hope you guys are okay with that. We're just going to watch the trailer real quick. I haven't watched the movie. I've watched clips of it, what I could get for free, because right now I'm just moving in. So we are going to. There we are. Okay, so let's.
This mystery is kind of like a musical.
Oh, hold on. Y'all are probably getting the echo. Just a moment. Let me make sure to remove the echo. Oh, I always forget to check that little box. Maybe. Let me know if there's an echo.
Composition. If you're missing a note or two, you probably wouldn't be able to make sense of it all.
I was recently introduced to a surgeon who claims to remove implants, nanotechnology microchips embedded by aliens, non-humans monitoring our Earth. He talked about abductions, scalar wave transmissions, and a program to study or manipulate the human race. I was eager to verify the authenticity of this alleged off-world implant technology.
Sorry, content warning. I did not realize that the trailer was going to have open surgical incisions. Is there more than one trailer? Patient 17.
Dr. Roger Lear did confirm I was going to be patient number 17.
So you're going to get this thing out?
That's what he's telling me.
And what did you know of Dr. Lear before?
Absolutely nothing. I knew nothing about Dr. Lear until I was introduced.
Would you consider your life to have been completely normal up until the point where you've engaged these people interested in your story?
My life has been normal, but it did get thrown into a storm when I met these UFO folks. When Dr. Lear and his associates told me that this could be an implant Now it's all been brought back up to the surface. I'm wondering what I'm going to see in the shadows. Or is there missing time? Is this scarier than hell?
See, it almost comes across like they're telling this guy that this foreign body in his person is an implant, more so than what he thinks that it is, or he feels that it is. I mean, could you imagine going to a doctor, getting contacted or whatever by a doctor, a surgeon, and they're like, "Yeah, I'd like to help you get this foreign body out of your, wherever it is, your leg, your hip, the back of your neck." Some of these have it like right at the base of the skull. That's like one of the most popular places that they claim to have, is like behind the ears and stuff. And then they're like, because we think it might be an extraterrestrial implant. Could you imagine going to a doctor and getting that news? I mean, not call it news, but getting that claim.
So you met Dr. Lear. Do you trust him?
You know, I don't trust anybody in today's world. I just want all this to end. I just want it removed. I don't have to worry about a piece of metal floating around in my body.
Oh, we go open surgery again. Sorry, guys.
To tell you the truth. That's why I'm doing this documentary, is to really find out what's happening. Just finding the truth.
All right, we're going to stop right there because it keeps showing open surgery, and I don't know that my audience is prepared for that. I know I do have some people in here who might be troubled by such imagery, so I'm not gonna show any more of the trailers for this, because it seems to be that they're using that in every one. But that's the gist of Patient 17. He's just as far as I can tell, Patient 17 is just a normal guy. The cinematography looks good on it, but the claims made in it about the object, it's and you hear the patient talking. It doesn't sound like he's very confident that what he's dealing with is an alien implant. But that is the tale of Patient 17. Let us, what do we have here? Had some different stuff set up. Here's some interviews and things I was reading just for research. Here's our Dr. Lear. The reason I kept this up was for this specifically. So this is the size and schematics of the alleged implant that he's finding in people, the implants. Some of them are crystal glass, pieces of glass. Some of them are metal. But he makes some assertions about them that don't seem to have been backed up by evidence. At least nothing that's been examined about them producing magnetism, about them being producing radio waves. It's back your claims, friend. Don't when other labs want to examine your findings, you don't refuse access to them. That looks suspicious, right? All right, so moving on to, I have a couple little alien implant videos. They are going to be kind of touch and go though, so we will see how much of them I'm going to play, because they are by like different. Not that one. There we go. Okay, the first one you might recognize. You might recognize this guy, and not just from the thumbnail. So we're gonna first and foremost, now that we're moving away from Dr. Lear, now we've kind of laid the groundwork for what alien implants are all about. We are going to share this little clip from,
and we're going to bring them to the electron microscope, capable of extreme magnification. So we're gonna have an expert look at them and get a really close look at it, see what they're made of.
So Joe Rogan, of all people, this is the Joe Rogan questions everything.
Joe.
Arun Kumar, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
Arun Kumar.
Nice to meet you.
Arun Kumar, glad to meet you.
Dr. Kumar, what exactly is going on here?
We placed the sample in the electron microscope, then turn on an electron beam.
That's amazing. How close are you looking right
And
there?
this was from about 5 months ago.
3,500 times. That is so badass.
Well, we'll see what it comes out.
Has anybody ever brought you something to analyze that may or may not have come from an alien?
Yes, sir. We've done some from Roswell, New Mexico.
They examined some of the Roswell
That's the big-
finds.
That's the holy grail. What do you think happened in Roswell, if you had to guess?
Well, right now we haven't gotten any positive samples that I can tell you what happened, so I have no idea.
Wow. Look at that.
Look at the honesty.
So now she can zoom in.
What the heck is that?
That kid snorted a Death Star. That's amazing.
That looks like
Now
a
she's
piece
turning
of
on the
molten
screen and you can see the elements coming up.
magnesium
What we're seeing is
that
about
beaded
75%
as it
gold,
burned
24%
crackles.
silver.
Kid sneezes money.
Should be a rap video.
Silver.
But how it got there, we don't have a clue.
In all of your experience working here, have you ever known of a orb like that to come out of a human body?
Not anything that shape and composition.
If I was an alien, I'd leave little sharp pieces of metal around people's house so that they would actually step on the implant. And then
Alien, you big. It's very, very interesting stuff. I really, really appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So that was the alien implant episode from Joe Rogan back in March.
Is that analyzed?
No, we have not had this analyzed. We'd like to have it looked at.
So what you're saying essentially is that you only want facts. You're open-minded about all this, but
Yeah.
you just want what is provable, period.
So that was I don't see why what they're looking at. Yes, I'll find my wish list. I will. Yes, I can do that. You guys are so sweet. There's not much on it yet. I haven't really added too much to it. So we shall see. Now, a scapegoat here. Hey, scapegoat. Good to see you. Now, this object that they're looking at, does it look mechanical in any way? Does it look like it has a function, or does it look like it's just a solid little piece of, when the metal's cool, they bead together like that. So what I'm seeing is, instead of silver, which I guess makes sense, but the part where they're like, oh, it's the Death Star, because it had that flat spot on it, that would have been what was sitting like down, like that would have been on the flat surface when the metal cooled and beaded. What I wonder is if maybe it got blown, like maybe in a shop of some kind. I don't know if this was a kid, but it got, like, when you're cleaning up the shop, like a jewelry shop, for instance, and you got solder on the, because that's what it looked like to me. It looked like a solder bead. And when you blow that around and someone maybe inhales it, or it gets lodged under someone's skin because it's air. That's why they say not to, when you have an air gun in your shop, you're not supposed to use it to blow yourself off, because it'll blow things into your skin. Like it'll blow, grains of sand, splinters. It also could blow little bits of metal into your skin. So that kind of thing happens when you work in a shop, or when you don't have to work in a shop. Just have to be present when someone's doing that. And that would have happened to you. I had to get one removed out of my eye from someone who was on the other side of a wall. We had this little communication window down below where we could talk. I worked in a factory at the time because I was in school, and they were blowing their shelf off when I was working on the other side, and it went right into my eye, and I had to go get it removed. So yeah, this kind of, and that was magnesium, and it looked a lot like that. Mine was more, ironically, mine was more bullet shaped, but same difference, had the flat side to it and everything. Removed from my eye by an optometrist. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. I got it in there. They took me to one of the people at work, took me to the eye doctor. They went in there with their little tweezers and they pulled it out and put whatever that sealant stuff they have, the optometrist have that they put over it, like a liquid bandage or whatever, put that on it, wore an eye patch for 2 or 3 days, and that's good to go. But this stuff happens. These little foreign bodies get into us sometimes, and that's the reason that was so obvious was because it was in my eye. But if it had hit, in my cheek next to that, it might have just been like, ouch, that felt like a grain hitting the owl, or maybe there was a little splash of blood, and I wouldn't even realize that I had this little piece of metal in my face. I would have just thought it hit me and made an injury, and that was it. So the idea that little tiny pieces of metal and glass end up under our skin is not evidence for extraterrestrials. But if they can demonstrate that there is something more to it, that this is something goes a little bit deeper, that these do have radio waves, these are magnetic, things like that, present me the evidence, because you haven't yet. All right, what do we have next here? Oh yeah, this one's good. So this guy, am I still sharing? Yeah, I'll still see it. Okay, yes, okay. So this gentleman here is looking at his own leg. He's got something in there, some sort of body in his leg. He's wanting to show us what it looks like. He called it a triangle, but I don't see a triangle. I see more spherical. And I almost want to say this is just a cyst. But you all can also, have your opinions on it. There may be a foreign body inside the cyst. It even looks like a cyst from the outside, though. I've had cysts before. Fortunately, it runs in my family. We're prone to getting cysts on our hands from time to time. So, yeah, which is, a normal part of human anatomy, I suppose. But yeah, they are unsightly sometimes, and it does look peculiar. And if you shine a light through it like that, yeah, I can see how it would come across as weird to someone who wasn't familiar with a cyst or had never had one before. But I don't think that was the alien implant either. That's where that guy stops. Where are we? Okay, so watch that one. Watch that one. Okay, this next one is I'm kind of apprehensive about it because it's on like ABC News. So I don't want to get or no, it's Travel Channel. We'll stop it enough to make it work. Here, let's go. We'll go with it.
Eberhardt claims to have had strange and often terrifying encounters since she was 3 years old.
Barbara Eberhardt interview. Barbara, thank you for sitting down with me and Melissa. Mm-hmm. First of all, where did you grow up?
So she's going to talk about some of her past here, just to make it clear. She goes into going that she's from Nazi Germany, or that she was born in. Her earliest memories are living in Soviet. Oh, you know what?
I was born in Berlin in 1943. First time I had contact, we were living in communist-occupied Germany in a little village. I was 3 years old.
At 3 years old, they're monitoring you.
Yes.
And when she says monitoring you, she's talking about the extraterrestrials, not the Soviets, just to be clear. Now, I am not going to say that this is what happens, but most of my experiences, and I did the perspective for over a year, talked to abductees out the wazoo. I've talked to probably a dozen alien abductees in my time taking those calls. I'd love to get back to that, by the way, Ethan. Let's get this show going again. Anyway, so I would talk to them almost always as we dug into the meat of the experience. It always comes down to being basically the same kind of experience that I had myself when I suffered from sleep paralysis. I suffered from sleep paralysis when I was working overnights. Monday through Friday, I was working overnights again, factory work, same kind of deal there. Stuff I did while I was younger. And anyway, and when on the weekends would come around, I'd try to sleep at night like a normal person. Mostly I'd sleep with my spouse, but I would always have sleep paralysis happen to me in the middle of the night, like it got clockwork every Saturday night. Anyway, and the experiences that these people describe when they talk about their abductions are very similar to what I experienced on those occasions.
It is very, how should I say, trying at times to digest it all, you know.
Can you give me kind of the description of what they look like?
They have elongated faces. All their hair was no curls, just straight, and all cut at the shoulders. They all had the same haircut. White hair, white skin.
Barbara's description matches that of the Pleiadians.
The Pleiadians they used to call them the Nordics. I guess they don't call them that anymore. They're the tall, blonde, stoic, pale aliens. They're not the gray aliens with the big eyes. They're more human-like. They have human facial features and stuff, but they're really pale and white, and they are, I think they're on average supposed to be taller than humans. They're basically Asgardians. Is when it comes down to. These are the Asgardians. This is Thor and Freya coming down to
While
visit.
They were content to simply monitor Barbara as a toddler, once she grew up, the abductions began.
One time I thought I had a dream, but it wasn't. All of a sudden I was up in the...
And this is like the sleep paralysis where you think it's a dream, and then all of a sudden you're experiencing things as in real world, real time. It's because your brain is parts of your brain are in wake mode, and parts of your brain are still in sleep mode, and not just in sleep mode, in dream mode. So there's the parts of your brain that fabricate images and things like that is still firing on all pistons, while the other part of your brain that's say now awake and looking around and experiencing the world around me is also alert. So it creates this amalgamation of real time, real experience with hypnopompic hallucinations.
Huge hangar. Kind of ahead of me, I saw two tall white Pleiadians, and I couldn't move. I was pinned to a slab.
But they were not alone.
There were little grays.
Now we have the grays coming in, so now we have a collab between the grays and the Pleiadians. How do they say that? I always call them the Nordic aliens, but that's what they used to call them on the forums and stuff back when I used to engage actively with that. I don't do that so much anymore. As a skeptic, they don't really want to engage with me too much. But
It was very scary.
This is the first time the investigation has come across a collaboration between aliens. Why would different species work together to make human-alien hybrids?
A lot of people.
Human-alien hybrids. They just sprang that on us. That hasn't been a topic of conversation so far. That they were making hybrids. Let's figure out where that's coming from.
When they're in an abduction situation, they have seen a Pleiadian in the background with grays. Well,
it's weird. Like, oh, this is the first time that we've seen this, and then that guy's like, no, we see this all the time. Make up your mind. Is this a rare occurrence for Barbara here to see the grays and the Pleiadians cooperating, or is it common?
What we don't know is the Pleiadian actually overseeing the work that the grays are doing, or are they protecting?
Protecting who? The grays or the person?
Well, what's the agenda of the Pleiadians, you think? Like, what's what's the big picture?
They all work together. Grays, Pleiadian beings. The way I see it is, they think we are a lesser species.
Right. Barbara.
No, the way she sees it, but The way I see it is that they're actually fabricated from your brain, especially the Nords. It's interesting to think about someone living in Soviet occupied Berlin in the 1940s. Someone growing up in that environment would have visitations by tall Nordic blonde overbearing beings coming along. So it's kind of an interesting idea to think about where that could come from culturally.
Also believe she was implanted with devices.
Here we go. Here's our implant.
Implant behind my ear here, the base of my brain. And they inserted an implant in my shoulder.
And that the Pleiadians are tracking her.
I think that's basically like a tag. We did an MRI. The doctor said, oh, what's that behind your ear? It was an elongated thing.
So there's more to her story that I've read elsewhere where it's talking about how she was having hearing problems. That's why she went to the doctor at first to have them examine that and do the MRI. They did. I don't think they cover that here, but
you can really see the implant. It's sort of like a square thingy there. And he told me to come back 6 weeks later and we're going to discuss it and everything. And the doctor didn't even want to touch the subject. So I personally think he looked at it and he saw it was an implant and he didn't want to touch it.
And you said you have the MRI image of the implant, correct?
Yeah. All right, here we go. I'm sorry if you guys are responding. I can't see right now because I don't have one screen.
Skull an alien implant? And if so, what?
Hold on. Let's look at it from the different angles here. Okay, so here looks like it is slightly rectangular in this image. What bone is this? Is this like the ear bone? Where are we looking at here? Because this doesn't look like. Let's see. This one doesn't look like the skull, but this one, the next one definitely looks like it's in the brain. Or no, this one doesn't either. So that's round with a hole in the middle there. Okay.
If so, what is its purpose?
This is the late.
Then we have this one that's a little bit different.
So here's the nasal cavity or sinus cavities here.
Okay, so that's the MRI.
And here the right side, it says it's 7 millimeters. So they had measured it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not seeing it. I just see the marking they put on there.
They knew that it would.
So because that eye shape is not that. That's not in the MRI.
Was unique and strange enough, they thought to take a measurement.
Well, before the body in someone's head, sure. They're going to take a measurement of it. Now, why wouldn't they? It'd be weird if they didn't take a measurement of it. Okay, so what have we learned? What have we learned about alien implants? What have we figured out? That for the most part, they are just little pieces of glass and metal that get lodged in someone's skin somehow and show up on an X-ray or MRI, and the person's like, I don't know how that got there. So they automatically want to link it to this experience that they had, this sleep paralysis experience that they had at some point in their lifetime. Say, hey, what if when I had the experience, this was something that they put in my body? But there's no deeper examination of the evidence, and we're kind of counting the hits and discounting the misses, because the only, as far as I can see, the only laboratory examinations of these things always come back as being something mundane, something terrestrial. So why are we jumping to the conclusion that they're extraterrestrial? Yeah, travel channels basically became like the History Channel. They'll do ghost shows and all that stuff too. But hopefully I don't get a strike for that. I think I stopped at plenty of time, but I'm just critiquing it. So fair use, mother. because they always, those two big channels always try to get you for that. I'm not monetized anyway, so I don't know what they hope to gain from doing a claim against me, but I don't think that they should have a claim on this one because I'm critiquing their nonsense, because this whole video was nonsense, making baseless claims about the origins of these foreign bodies and these people that aren't backed by the evidence. There's no evidence for these objects that are removed being of extraterrestrial origin, having any kind of strange or abnormal qualities to them. None of them. They're, for the most part, they just seem to be foreign bodies of common elements that have been lodged in the skin. But it's definitely worth looking into. I would love to see some more analysis of these claims. I would love to see that, but as of right now, there's been nothing to support Dr. Lear's claims or anything else, or any of these other ones. But that being said, thank you for joining us for Cryptic Corner. I was so happy that you could tag along on this little adventure that we went on exploring alien implants and the lore behind it. If you're watching this on Fridays, hopefully we'll start releasing these on Fridays again soon once I get my editing software back. But yeah, thank you for watching Cryptic Corner, and we'll see you next time.